Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Xbox Casuals, the Xbox podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrick, and alongside me, as always, is the other voice in my head, Josh Finney.
Man, can I make a request for Tower Casuals on Thursday? Can you introduce me as the God Slayer? Because, Corey, I'm a God Slayer now.
That's amazing, Josh.
I finished it on Saturday night.
Proud of you.
I'm so excited. We haven't talked since then, and I'm very excited that I've officially become a God Slayer. It is probably the hardest title I've earned in this game. Which, granted, I don't have a lot of the harder ones, but man, that is a challenge, buddy. Talk about a gauntlet. My group actually breezed through the first 7 encounters very easily on the last week, and then we got stuck at Nez for well, I wouldn't say we breezed through them. We did one attempt on Tuesday. I did one attempt on Tuesday with one group, and we got stuck at Roll. Nobody could get the cheese to work. And then I started a fresh run on Saturday with part of the same group and some new people, and it ended up being a double carry. We had 2 people that were being carried through it, and then there was me on top of it, who's like half a carry. And man, I'll save a lot of this for episode 200, but it was exhausting. We were at Nezarec for 3 hours.
Ooh, that's
it was very challenging. So the twist in this one is you can't. So one of the twists is you can't stand on any of the plates to do damage.
Ooh.
You cannot kill the Centurions on the left or right without the buff from the other side. So if you want to kill left Centurion, you have to get the darkness buff, and if you want to kill right Centurion, you have to have the light buff. They respawn after you've done the Darkness Refuge also. So you basically don't have time to kill them a second time if you want to do damage. And then a Tormentor also spawns.
Ooh, fun.
It was legitimately, once we got the right group in there, that actually went very smoothly. But that was one of the biggest challenges I've ever done. And I think part of that is due to 2 people being in there who really should not have been there, probably. At least one of them certainly should not have been there. And God bless him, his internet went out at about hour 3. And he couldn't come back. His internet or his power or something went out. And so they brought in someone else who I've played with before. And we smoked it on the 4th attempt after that.
Nice.
Yeah, it is a whole ass challenge. The Pantheon is what Master Raid should have been this whole time, though, honestly. These are the types of changes you should be making to these encounters.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. I can't believe that we launched Rolk off a platform. We didn't even bother DPSing him. Doing legit Riven was really cool. It's I've done it one time, and that was last week in a trio. And then doing it actually, doing Riven the way it's supposed to be done was a wild experience. So yeah, that's, I know you were about to ask what I've been playing. That's what I've been playing.
I was.
Along with Hellblade 2, obviously.
Yeah, Hellblade 2 is pretty much all I've been playing the last couple days. So a lot of people were reporting that it was between 5 and 6 hours, and I'm 5 hours in, and I just got to the end of chapter 4. So I don't know if I'm just being slow or what, but
I have a friend who has finished it and did not feel like he was sprinting through it. And he said 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean the first one was only about 7
to finish. Yeah, I think that because I assume we're just going to talk about Hellblade for a few minutes here.
Yeah.
Part of my problem with it is I understand the gripe about a game being 6 or 7 hours long and it costing $50. I totally understand that. I'm empathetic to that. But how do I want to break this down? I was talking to my friend Josh earlier today. I know it's confusing, Josh and Josh. My childhood best friend, actually. And he was like, I was frustrated with it at first because I knew how short it was. He was like, and then I finished it basically in 2 sittings. He goes, but when I looked at this as a work of art as opposed to like a traditional video game or like something like God of War, for example. He was like, when I
Hmm.
looked at it like that, he goes, I had a lot more appreciation for it. And he's like, I actually
Hmm.
appreciated that they tried something here. And he goes, it is like, if you didn't like the first one, you're not going to like this one. Like, it is
Yeah,
very
that's what I've been
much,
telling everybody.
it's very much more of the same. And that, I think that's where I'm frustrated is when, if I can steal a phrase, Shinobi was saying this on Twitter, if I can steal a phrase from him, he said that he likes his sequels to push the gameplay elements forward, and likes the sequel to try new ideas. And I agree with that. Um, I am not super deep into Senua Saga. I'm partway through chapter 2 right now. I did not get as much time as I wanted to this week with it because I spent so much time doing Pantheon runs and
Hmm.
trying to help get friends through it. I I find myself thinking the same thing after about an hour and a half of gameplay. I'm like, yeah, I can feel that. The controls, like that is the only criticism I've seen that I like really get, is that I agree with every review that has said it, is the controls feel bad.
See, I don't think the controls feel bad at all. I think they feel great.
Oh, I think they feel like they're straight out of like 2005, if we're being brutally honest. This game, like the combat to me feels clunky as hell.
Oh, see, I really like the combat. This is the type of combat that I really like.
Man, really?
I think it's why I really like Stellar Blade too, because it's very deliberate and slow.
That's crazy. I mean, you're obviously welcome to your opinion. I
Yeah.
just, man,
Well, also it gets better. I don't. Let's see. You said you're in the middle of chapter 2, so you have the mirror already, right?
yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, not that that makes it any better or worse. It just changes some things a little bit. But like, I don't know. I really like the combat. I I think this game is better in every single aspect than the first one. And I think it gets better the farther you get in. And there's some
Okay.
complaints I've been seeing online that like I'm like, you definitely didn't play more than like an hour of this.
I mean, and that's fair. I'll take your word for it. I certainly plan on finishing it this week.
Hmm.
At the very latest before the next episode.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I just like through the first hour and a half, I'm like, okay, this is pretty much more of the same. If you didn't like the first, and this is a review I keep coming back to, is Paul Tassi literally opens his review saying, I didn't care for the first one, and then proceeds to just like
Hmm.
call this one mid for the next like 15 paragraphs.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, then why are you like, I get why you're reviewing this. You're the
Hmm.
one games person at Forbes, basically, but like, why are you in particular reviewing this? Like, it seems like you guys could have freelanced this piece out
Hmm.
to someone who, like, at the very least, like the first one. Like, there's been a few people I know who really loved the first one who were like, man, this just didn't hit for me. And that's been shocking for me to see, because to me, this just feels like, it feels like a natural continuation of Senua's journey.
Yeah. I mean, there's some. It's like I don't know what to compare it to really, but like the first one, Senua doesn't really interact with anyone,
No,
right? And there's actual like real characters in this
right.
besides Senua, and uh, you know that's like a drastic change from the first one, which is a change that I really appreciate because like as much as I really liked the first one, the lack of her interaction with characters and really seeing how her psychosis affects other people
Mm-hmm.
in real time uh is like a really cool touch to this one that wasn't in the first one. um and I just really feel like the game really starts getting interesting and weird and better when you this isn't really spoilers, but like you leave a set of characters to go find the hidden ones, and that's where the game starts getting interesting and weird, and you see new puzzles, you see new types of
Yeah.
enemies, you see, you know, the dream world versus the real world, and it's just I don't know, I like don't want to stop playing this game. And I don't know if I it could possibly be because there's a lot of, not to get too deep into my personal stuff here real quick, Josh, but like there's a lot of things over the last year and a half or so that I've learned about myself, and replaying the first one this year was like I became really Senua became extremely relatable because I learned a lot of things about myself and
Yeah.
some of the mental things that I was going through. And so her journey became kind of personal for me too. And it continues in this game. And maybe that's a lot of it. I don't know. Uh, but I really am enjoying this game. And it's probably my favorite game I've played all year, to be honest.
Wow.
Not that I've played a ton of games that have come out this year, but it's my favorite game I think I've played this year.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the experience so far. I would say one other thing that's really, I like the voices that you hear constantly. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
the way to play this game is with surround sound headphones on.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely the way this game is meant to be played. Um, I just wish that the voices would shut up a little bit occasionally. Like when I haven't done a puzzle within like 3 seconds and they're like shouting at you where to go. Like, goddamn, let me like figure this out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I mean, like, I like
they
it.
trick you though. Like
Yeah,
when once like when you get further, Josh, when you start hearing the voices and you can see Senua is like genuinely scared. The voices start playing tricks on you, and you have to try to stop listening to them to solve certain puzzles and to fight certain enemies because they will tell you the wrong thing. And I think
that's
that's where it
cool.
starts getting interesting. And
Yeah,
they did that in the first one too, but it started a lot earlier because Senua was really like she was scared the entire game until the end, right? And so this one, she's much more confident in herself and she knows what journey she's on. Uh,
it's really cool. I'm curious to see if they continue making. I feel like you're getting a part 3, and that'll probably be it for Senua's journey.
mhm. Yeah.
Just from like everything that I know that will happen later in the game that I've had
Mhm.
discussions with
Yeah.
friends who have played through it. They're like, yeah, basically it's primed for a part 3, and that'll
Mhm.
probably be about it.
Yeah.
Um,
And it'll probably be the same. So everybody calm down. And it's
Milena
probably going to be,
Jurgen, Milena Jurgens is incredible.
she's,
She's incredible. This is a game that, like, despite if you have gripes about the controls like I do, I've seen some gripes about story elements as it gets further into the game. Um, but I would say that a sequel probably needs to be a bit longer. I'm gonna be totally honest. It probably needs to be more of like a 10 or 11 hour journey as opposed to like 6 hours. Um, and I'd like to see a little more freedom in how we move about the world. I don't mind it being a linear game because it very much is,
mhm.
but I want a little bit more like player agency and choice, I guess. And I know that this isn't exactly the game or franchise now that like encourages that, but I would like to personally see that. Like, okay, let's modernize it a little bit more. This is the poster child for what Unreal 5 can look like.
Yeah.
It
This,
is it is the best looking game I've ever seen in my life.
mhm.
It is the best audio I've ever heard in a game.
Mhm.
And I think that goes a long way. Like, technically, this is a showcase, and I feel like this game would have gotten a lot less criticism had it come out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This is, I heard somebody describe it this way as this is the best tech demo I've ever played.
Mhm.
And yeah, I can kind of co-sign that.
Yeah.
This does feel like something that if it had come out, like, man, if this and I know that obviously it wasn't able to be because of Unreal 5 and all this and that and COVID. If this had been able to come out in like that 2020-2021 window when Halo Infinite missed the launch, but this was your demo of what this console could do, I think maybe we're discussing the Series X generation a little bit differently at this point.
Mhm.
I look at this and, like, yeah, you see all the audio and you see all the visuals, and then at the same time you're kind of like, damn, how did this take like 4 years to make, 4 or 5 years to make? And then you remember everything that's happened in the world and in the industry since then.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they lost like an entire year minimum. Like, maybe just like Microsoft shouldn't have announced it with the console.
Yeah.
If this had like been announced at that 2020 showcase or even in 2021, I think that we'd be like, oh, okay, we didn't wait like 4 years for this.
Yeah.
So But again, like this is what they expected when they bought Ninja Theory. These are the
Mhm.
kind of experiences they knew they were going to get.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to our conversation from last episode, like, and I thought it was a really good sign that supposedly the studio's not in any trouble at all. And I mean, of course, that can always flip on a dime. They said the same thing about Tango Gameworks,
Yeah.
but supposedly their next game is already greenlit.
Their next two games are
Their next,
greenlit.
well, yeah, their next two if you include Project Mara.
Yeah.
Um, then they got two more games in the works. This studio has people are like, oh, how does Ninja Theory have 100 people working there? And it took this long to make it. The original was made by 20 people. There's your answer. They're working on other projects.
Yeah.
Like they had one of the studio founders left like 2 years ago, and it just now got reported.
Yeah. And he was the original kind of progenitor of this project too. So,
Yeah, and of Mara, I believe, also.
yeah.
So I'm very excited to see what this studio does. Like, to me, this is the only positive of buying something like ZeniMax or not Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, is that okay, your mega franchises like Elder Scrolls and Diablo and World of Warcraft and of course Call of Duty can they can sell bonkers copies to fund projects like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is what you're doing here. So like even if you want to keep it within just Xbox Game Studios itself, sure, let's put out a Forza Horizon and let's put Sea of Thieves on other platforms so that we can generate income to be able to justify being allowed to let this studio and Double Fine do whatever they want to do.
Right.
Phil knew what he was getting when he bought these studios. He was not getting a studio that was going to run out and make the next God of War.
Yeah.
And I think that's also where some of the disconnection, disassociation is coming from, is for whatever reason, folks expected God of War.
Yeah. I heard when people were saying that, they were like, well, it's called Senua's Saga. That means it should be longer. I'm like, no,
that's just the name of the game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, so I don't know. I just, this, I really hope they get to kind of stay open long enough to do the third one, which I know they said they aren't in any trouble, and I there are reasons for me to believe that other than just them saying that, right? Like they have a state of the art mocap studio. They have a huge they have a huge team that just helps on other projects, right? Similar to Coalition, and like they have a lot of.
They're kind of like the European team for that, I feel.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I mean, if I don't want to say anybody's getting laid off or closed soon, but I think if there is anything happening soon, they're pretty safe.
I do feel like they will probably have to get and I understand, like, now that they know how to do Unreal 5, I feel like the budget maybe won't be as wildly out of control.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what the budget is, but I mean, we're assuming this was a pretty expensive project over the years. I mean, they were talking about scanning in costumes they made in real life. Like, that's part of what took this game so long to make, and like that's cool. I think like this is a very like avant-garde experience for a AAA studio to put out, or for like a platform holder to put out, I feel. It's kind of like, I would say it's, I don't want to like invoke the name of Hideo Kojima too like loosely here, but it's kind of like when they partnered with Kojima Productions to make, or when Sony did to make Death Stranding. It's just like, yeah, kind of do whatever the fuck you want to do. Yeah. And then, this is kind of like Microsoft being like, okay, well, here's a blank check. Like, I hope that, Phil explained to everybody who watches the sheets that like, hey, we're not expecting this game to sell incredibly. This is an experience. This is proving what our teams can do as a first party development team.
Yeah.
So,
and like you said, them using Unreal, they're basically building this game. Wow. Like they were pretty much building the engine to a plane that was also being built, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, Unreal was being built while this game was being built as well. So like every time there was some sort of update to push through, they had to probably make sure everything worked with this update. And at one point they were probably just like, we have to like cut that off. We're at a point where we're satisfied with what this version of the engine does. So we gotta get it out. But yeah, I don't know. This is a technical showpiece. I would probably give it like an 8, but also like it, there's a lot more in this game that means something in a way to me than just it being a video game. So I don't know. I really love it. I think it's great. I love the character design of Senua this time around too. Like the characters just look awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you have anything else to say about Hellblade, Josh, before we kind of move on?
No. I think that it's a good experience. If you have Game Pass, there's literally no reason not to check this out.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, beware. So it catches you up at the beginning. I feel like the because it's been years and years since I played the first one.
Yeah, I mean, it came out in 2017,
yes.
So like, I mean, even if you did play it, like it's been that long. So
I think this is it's a good catch up mechanic. I think it does a good job of explaining where we're at with Senua's journey. But this is a game like it needs to be really clear off the bat. This is not going to be for everyone. And these are the kind of experiences that make me happy for Game Pass, because now we don't have to hear the endless complaining about we were lied to, we were sold something that we didn't expect. I also think that this game highlights that, again, I have to drive home. The marketing is so bad for Xbox right now for their first party games.
It's terrible. I tweeted it out. I tweeted out the Xbox Wire post. I'm like they said they were going to make some huge marketing push, and you got to do more than a couple tweets and a few Instagram videos and Xbox Wire
post. I've said it for a couple of years now. I mean, honestly, I've felt it since like the Series X came out, if not before then. It's time for Aaron Greenberg to go.
Yeah, I've felt that since the Xbox One days.
He like very clearly, like, they don't know what they're doing in marketing over there, and I feel bad for the people who like put together these cool campaigns, because I really do think I think Power Your Dreams is a really cool concept for your whole console.
Yeah,
but then you never capitalize on that. Like, you spend all this money doing these fancy like ads. You market your controllers more than you market your games.
I know.
Like, I'm not saying, and I know that like when you have unique experiences like Pentiment, it's very difficult to promote that. But like even Hi-Fi Rush, like look how abysmal the marketing was there. I feel like the only reason you even got some decent marketing out of it is because Bethesda still has their own people. Like Hellblade 2, I had friends who didn't even know this was coming out, and I would consider them to be fairly in the know on the industry. And they were like, wait, that's coming out in like 3 weeks? Like, yeah. They did nothing. They basically showed it at the developer direct and then said good job and patted themselves on the back.
Right.
And it's just really frustrating to see this. Like, these are good games that are just not getting the promotion that they should. And then it leads to people going, how did nobody play this game? Right. Well, did you see the abysmal marketing that happened? Like a few Twitter ads, a few YouTube banners aren't promoting your game.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like,
and then they wonder, like, why are we getting this full screen advert for the game when we turn on our consoles and it's telling us to install it? Like, because y'all said you didn't know it was coming out, so here it is.
Yeah.
It is a real like lose-lose. Like, I don't like those either, and it really does. Like, I think that should be reserved for just like your biggest games, maybe.
Yeah.
Or like a spot on the dashboard being like, hey, by the way, this is out. But like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, I don't know what else you guys want.
Right.
If you're mad about this, get ready to see it for Call of Duty when it comes out.
Oh, God.
Well, I did it for Modern Warfare 3 last year.
Yeah. Black Ops 6.
I'm actually like low-key kind of happy about this.
So
I have played a lot of Call of Duty the last 7 or 8 months. I haven't played this much Call of Duty since I was in high school. I'm having a good time in multiplayer.
I mean, that's fair.
I'm actually very excited for this.
It's just like, man, Black Ops 6, man. Like,
I think that makes it sound worse than it is. Like, Black Ops is like the one franchise, I feel like, not to get off on a tangent, I feel like that's like the one Call of Duty like subset that has continued to like actually have some form of quality to it.
Yeah, I mean, Treyarch's the one that does those, right? So like Treyarch seems to be
they've had 4 years to make this game too.
Yeah. And then like Infinity Ward is so up and down. Yeah. And obviously Modern Warfare 3 was kind of like just shoved out the door by 17 different studios, right? Because
it was supposed to be a DLC. It wasn't even supposed to be Modern Warfare 3.
And I mean, if you look at the trophies on PlayStation, they're marked as DLC. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Modern Warfare 3's trophies are DLC trophies for Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, no, I know what you're saying. So on Xbox, it's marked the same way. It's all just marked under Call of Duty now.
Yeah, so
because it's all part of a hub.
Gross.
Yeah. I'm not a fan either.
Yeah.
But yeah, nope, not to get off on that tangent, but nope, nothing else for Hellblade.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else either. I'm enjoying it. I am probably going to finish it after we get off this recording tonight because I want to see it through. And then I am going to replay it to try to get all the collectibles and stuff because I want to 1K it because that's what I do with Hellblade games. So, well, Josh, Xbox Showcase is coming up.
Oh my God, the next time that we meet here, it is going to be breaking down the showcase.
It is. And maybe some of the things we're going to predict here, Josh.
Oh man, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this. So we're each bringing 5 predictions and 1 out of left field.
Yeah. Yep. I'm very excited. I'm actually pretty confident in a lot of mine, although some of them are pretty safe, but there's one in here that's pretty I would say would be pretty bold but not crazy. And then
I think you've got 2 or 3 bold ones here.
Ooh.
Hit me with your first one, Corey.
All right, Josh.
I could see your list. I did not type mine, and mine is going to be completely off the cuff.
Yeah, I just did that because I didn't want to forget.
No, it's all good. I meant to do it, and then I got very busy this afternoon. And coming home to avoid baseball-sized hail.
Yeah.
So
it's yeah. So my first one, Josh, it's if you've been listening to me or us or some form of shows that we've been a part of in the last, I don't know, decade, you may know that I am a Gears fan, Josh.
Corey is as much of a Gears fan as I am a Halo fan, if that tells you guys anything.
Yeah, I own the books, Josh.
Yep.
I even like Gears Judgment.
Gears Judgment is a perfectly fine game. It should have been a launch title for the Xbox One, though.
Yeah, that's probably true. You're definitely right there. But I think we are going to. I think they're going to. My thought was they were going to kick the showcase off with this, but I don't know how you would do this type of announcement with this. So maybe they do it more towards the middle or the end or something. But a Gears collection of the original trilogy, plus Judgment. I guess you could throw Judgment in there. I hope they fix the controls to feel like the other games, though, kind of like they did with, like Sony did with the Nathan Drake collection, or Halo did a pretty good job of making the controls feel similar on every game if you wanted them to. But I feel like we're going to get a Gears collection with the announcement of Gears 6, but we are not going to get a trailer for Gears 6, Josh. It's just going to be some sort of weird tease. And then that will be the big showcase game next year, and it'll be out next fall.
So I agree with you that Gear 6 is getting revealed here. I think you're getting gameplay. I'm going to go a step further. I think that this is the game that they show before Phil or Sarah walks out for the first time.
Ooh, you think so?
I think this is in the top 3 that they show to set the tone for the showcase. And then when one of them comes out on stage, that's when they announce the collection.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a way to do it.
If the collection is real, it pretty much has to happen this year.
So with Gears 4, 5, and Tactics, they always announce them a year and a half before they come out. They always show a small, like when they announce it, they usually show a small snippet of gameplay.
Yep.
It's a very, very, very small snippet.
Gears 4 is the one that bucks that trend. We got a full level of gameplay at its reveal. Because it was in the ruined church.
Right.
With JD. We saw, because they had to show off the new enemies. They had to show the oh my God, what are they called?
The enemies that
the not lambent.
Yeah, the not the Locusts either.
The Swarm.
Yeah, jeez. Oh my
They
God.
showed the Swarm off, and I think that was to show, like, because we were all like, I remember seeing that reveal in 2015, and we were all like, that was the one more thing, and we were like, oh my God, like, they're really going back to, like, the horror roots of this franchise.
Yeah,
And well, that got abandoned.
and then that whole section was different too, because
And then Gears 5 happens.
spoilers for Gears 4, but that whole section,
Yeah.
like the section they showed off, like that's when Marcus disappears.
Yeah, they had to, like, very, like, they didn't have, like, Marcus in it at all.
No, and that was the big reveal though, was like old man
Yeah.
Marcus when they walked into the house at the end, right? Like,
Yeah, I think so. Here's the only reason why I'm saying gameplay and why I think they're going to buck the trend here. They've been working on this game for like 5 years now.
mm-hmm.
Every report we have that says the Gear 6 is going to be there says that they are still debating how much they want to show, but it's going to be either a trailer or full on gameplay.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I think that Coalition has to show something here.
Yeah.
Because that is one of Xbox's most marketable franchises. It is probably the end of the Gears saga as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
It should be, at least.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I'm ready.
They've had 5 years to work on this. It'll be 6 by the time it comes out.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, COVID, and then they also did that Matrix project, and they also helped with a ton of other projects.
Yeah, so
right?
from what I've heard at the Coalition, they basically have a team within the studio, and it's like a giant chunk of the studio that basically does what Sony's team that helps patch up other games do.
Yeah,
their internal studio. They've
dev.
basically established that with the Coalition and made them like the Unreal experts for Xbox, and that's why so many of the Xbox franchises, like Halo, are going to switch over to that. Like, it really feels like, yeah, they're going to keep id Tech and creation for, well, I don't know why earth you want to keep creation, but they're going to keep those going over at ZeniMax, and then it's kind of like Unreal 5 after that. They've already abandoned Slipspace. Forza Tech is still going to be a thing, but everything else, even Avowed, is going to run on Unreal 5. So I would say that, yeah, they've got a pretty important job. They've had to spend so much time getting things like Halo. I know they were a huge reason Halo Infinite even got out the door in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that they've been having to help with Avowed a lot, just because Obsidian is a smaller studio. Maybe like just even if it's just like training them on Unreal, you know, we know that's one of the changes that game went through, was changing engines completely at one point. So I'm very, very interested to see this. I'm ready because, I mean, we just got done raving about how good Hellblade 2 looks. Man, the Coalition is going to make a beautiful game.
Yeah. I mean, especially because, like, I mean, we see how great Hellblade looks. I think the Coalition could make a full on huge experience look like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I hope the campaign is not super long. I think Gears 5 is great, but man, that campaign was long.
I loved the campaign, man.
I loved it too. I felt like I feel like campaigns are just getting a little bit too long recently, and it's just like, okay, come on, let's I want to see what happens. Maybe I'm just eager to see what happens, Josh. Maybe that's it.
Well, I've got my first prediction, and I'm going to keep it in the same vein, Corey.
Ooh.
I'm going spicy on a lot of my takes.
Ooh.
I want to see Gears Tactics 2 announced.
Oh man, yeah,
I want basically like a Future of Gears section like we got in 2018.
Yeah.
Where they revealed Gears 5. Was it 2018 or 2019? We got Gears 5, we got Gears Tactics, and that stupid ass Funko game.
It was 2019 because Gears Tactics came to PC that year, and then Gears Tactics came to PC in March of 2020, and then Gears Tactics launched on Xbox Series that fall.
I would love to see another Gears Tactics game.
I do too. Gears Tactics is awesome.
Gears Tactics is a severely underappreciated game. I will settle for that or Halo Wars coming back.
Man, Halo Wars.
I will take either of those coming back. I think that they are both worthy games that expand their universe's storytelling in a way that we deserve.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything beyond that. Like, just I think Gears Tactics is a really unique game. It will fill the XCOM sized hole in my heart.
Yeah. Man. So that kind of goes along with my second take, Josh. Well, I'm gonna move one of my. Nope, I lied. That kind of goes along with my crazy prediction. So I guess we'll save it for then. But both of those would be perfect for a prediction I have later in the show. Yeah, man, Gears Tactics. I would take another Halo Wars 2. I really liked Halo Wars 2. Halo Wars 2 is underrated. Also, you should probably play it before you play Halo Infinite if you haven't done that. But that's my opinion. Josh, my next guess here is that I think we're going to see more Blade here. I think that's pretty safe. But I think we could see more Blade here. But that's not my prediction, though.
Okay.
But I also think if we see more Blade, they're going to announce another Marvel project.
No way.
I think Xbox is going
to. I think you're crazy, but okay.
I think they're going to do it.
I think Blade is so far off that they don't even have a working demo of it yet. I'm going to go really crazy on you and say we don't see Blade until the next Xbox is out.
I mean, that's fair, but technically that's only 2 years away. If you want to believe the rumors.
Yeah, but I think it's going to kind of fall into like that weird Hellblade loop where like we only see it at Jeff Keighley events for a while because that's where it was unveiled.
Yeah. Maybe.
So if they do another Marvel property, who would it be?
I think it's going to be something smaller, to be honest. Like
it has to be. It just Xbox doesn't have the profitability.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it would maybe be something like Daredevil.
So a long time ago, on my very first podcast I ever did, after Quantum Break came out, I pitched Remedy doing a Daredevil game. This was obviously long before Control came out.
Mm-hmm.
And that is still like one of the pairings I would love to see most in this industry.
Yeah.
I would love to see Ninja Theory do Daredevil.
Yeah, I could. I mean, the way some of the stuff later in Hellblade that you haven't experienced yet happens gives me a lot of Control vibes, and I could totally see them doing a Daredevil game.
Yeah, I don't know like who else would be suited to do a Marvel project at this point.
Yeah.
At those studios. I mean, it was already kind of out of left field it was very out of left field for Arcane to be doing one.
Yeah.
So I don't know who else it would be. So I'm gonna make my second prediction right now because it goes kind of along with you. We'll see who ends up being right. I think that they've secured the rights to make a Star Wars video game. I feel like that is kind of a match made in heaven. There were the rumors for years that ZeniMax had the Star Wars rights and they were doing something at ZeniMax Online with it. There were rumors that the Coalition was doing something for a while, but I believe Jeff Grubb said that he was never able to pin down that was happening.
Yeah.
I
think
I have pitched videos and hoped for years for them to have a spiritual sequel to Republic Commando over there.
Oh, dude, a cover-based Republic Commando
from the Coalition.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I pitched it with the Bad Batch.
Yeah, that would have been amazing. That would have been awesome.
That would be something I would love to see. I don't think that we will see it at this point.
It'd be so cool though. Oh, that would be so awesome. Did you see those Mandalorian modded Starfield videos going around, by the way?
I did.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, man, Star Wars.
I really feel like if they have anything, it's I gotta think that because they have a relationship with Lucasfilm, right?
Yeah.
After Indiana Jones, my pie in the sky dream is that Obsidian gets to make a proper Knights of the Republic 3, especially with Microsoft now saying that they're putting stuff on other consoles. I feel like that was always the impediment to Obsidian being allowed to do it once Microsoft bought them. Multiple people at Obsidian have said that they have begged for years to do this. Like the current team there still wants to do it.
Yeah.
That would be a dream, is that Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. That remake is still in development. All right. We'll step in and show you how to do it.
Right.
Um, that would absolutely gut a lot of Xbox fans, I think, because it would be yet another game coming to PlayStation 5, and that would 100% be a day-and-day release. Don't even get it twisted.
Mm-hmm. I think anything Disney at this point is going to be day and date after Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I think Indie is the exception there, and I think that's because it's like, I think Blade also might be, just because those are smaller IP. I think that, but Star Wars is Star Wars, especially when you're playing with something like KOTOR. The only thing I could see being used as an argument is it's never been a PlayStation franchise. It's like you associate KOTOR 1 and 2 with Xbox. They were Xbox exclusives. Like they didn't even come to other consoles until the last couple of years, outside of the weird iPhone ports. So I would make the argument that it just a pie in the sky dream announcement would be that Obsidian is doing KOTOR 3. I don't have any inkling that they are doing it. This has been my prediction for like 8 years running for E3, is that Obsidian is going to announce KOTOR 3. So I'm sticking to my guns here, Corey.
I would love that.
I would love them to finish. I'll make this easier on all of us. There is something Star Wars at this show.
Not Ubisoft related.
It's not going to be Outlaws. Man, Outlaws will not be here.
I can't wait for Outlaws, though.
I promise you Outlaws is not here, because they're doing their own event the next morning.
Yeah. Well, they did that last year, too, though.
I know, but it's, with it being 3 months away, they aren't going to do that again.
Oh, man, dude. Outlaws looks awesome. Yeah, I would love to see Obsidian go back and finish 2, to be honest with you. But that's
because I kind of wonder if this is where we would see that there's the rumors about a Star Wars Total War game happening.
Yeah, I saw that too.
From Creative Assembly. I wonder if that would be here given the relationship with Sega.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think something Star Wars is at this show. Realistically, it's probably Star Wars Total War. Pie in the Sky Dream, it's something from the Coalition or from Obsidian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, Corey, give me number 3.
All right, Josh, my number 3 prediction is Double Fine's next project will be revealed here.
Extremely safe bet.
Because it's been, 4 years since Psychonauts 2?
3 years. 3 years.
Yeah.
2021. Tim Schafer did say during the making of that their next game would be much smaller in scope.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the time to do it. We had heard the rumors that there was going to be a Double Fine game announced at the Developer Direct, and that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to think that this is going to be shown here. I would love for them to come out and say it's available today.
That'd be awesome. Shadow Drop.
I don't think it will, but I feel like either that or Towerborn is coming out as like a this is here today thing.
Yeah. A lot of rumors about the Shadow Drop would be Silksong, though.
I don't think it's Silksong. There's no way.
I don't either.
There's no fucking way.
I don't either.
Because then they have to Shadow Drop it on every platform. They want an exclusive.
Yeah, and Nintendo also has some sort of marketing with them, too.
Yeah, the marketing for Silksong is very weird.
Yeah. Because, like, Xbox says that they have exclusive, like, day one exclusive for that on Game Pass, but then Nintendo also said that they are going to they have marketing for it.
It's coming to Switch and Xbox for sure on day one. The thing is, Microsoft just gets to run around and say that we're getting it as a day one Game Pass drop. So everybody took that as, oh, it's exclusive. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's just the marketing around that game is weird. Everything around that game is weird.
Yeah, anything Team Cherry does, I'm just like, okay, well, whenever it comes out, it comes out.
Yeah,
It's honestly making me lose enthusiasm for it.
I didn't like Hollow Knight, so I'm not.
I liked it.
I don't care about it at all, but that's just me. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Double Fine can cook up for their next project. So, and we know it's not Psychonauts 3. So,
unfortunately, Psychonauts 2 is just such a fucking gem of a game.
Yeah, it was so refreshing.
It is still one of my favorite games of the last several years. I actually do think that we're going to hear some news about Psychonauts this year, though. I think it's going to be a port of Psychonauts 2 for the next Nintendo console.
I mean, that would make sense, right? I mean, that would.
Yeah, totally I think that's going to be a launch game, and it's going to sell bonkers if it goes to that. So
yeah, that's an easy
bonkers for a Double Fine game is like 1 million copies.
Yeah, I mean that's an easy win for both sides, I think, to be honest.
Yeah,
unless
Maybe
unless they're
do a
launching
double
it.
pack with the first one.
Yeah, unless they're launching it with next to the next Mario game.
Yeah. Well, my number 3 prediction is, I kind of just touched on this. I think we're getting a Shadow Drop. And I think you have 3 prime candidates. You have the next Double Fine game.
Mm-hmm.
You have Towerborn,
Mm-hmm.
which has been testing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to say 33 Immortals from last showcase.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
It is currently testing right now in a closed beta. I've heard nothing but great things about the people playing the closed beta. And the closed beta ends 3 days before the showcase.
Mm-hmm.
And we already know it's going to launch as game preview. So I feel pretty secure saying that that's probably the one. But man, I really want Towerborn. That game looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Castle Crashers on the 360, and this very much gives me a Castle Crashers vibe.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people who got to play it at Gamescom last year, like, this was playable at Gamescom last summer.
Yeah.
I feel like this can't be too far away.
Yeah.
It's been getting on and off beta tested for a while now. Drop it now, and it's the talk of the summer. So, especially if it goes over well, I mean, hey, then there's something else that you have on PC, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel pretty safe saying that one of those 3 is getting announced as it's out now.
Yeah.
So, especially with the next Game Pass drop not happening until the showcase, like, we won't hear about any other games until then. I think that one of those is pretty safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, hit me with number 4.
Number 4. This one's also pretty safe. Compulsion will show a decent chunk of gameplay for South of Midnight, and it'll be released sometime this fall.
Or I have the exact same guess as you, except I think this is a Q1 game.
Yeah.
I think this is in that February slot.
Yeah.
Just because I do think that fall is getting very packed.
Yeah, especially with Xbox games, right? I mean, with Avowed, Indiana Jones, and
I don't think anybody else is packing it, but I mean, you've got Avowed, Indiana Jones, Black Ops, and you've got Vessel of Hatred all coming.
Mm-hmm.
And Flight Sim and Towerborn, and it's just that they've got the deal for Stalker 2, which they're pushing really hard.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I think it's really difficult to find a release slot for this game. Instead of it getting bulldozed over, I think that this is part of the 2025 push.
Yeah.
More on that in my next prediction.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what this game looks like, though, in motion. I mean, I think the art style is unique and cool, and I'm just excited to see what's.
I want to see gameplay
going on with this game. Yeah, is it a third-person
Compulsion
shooter?
hasn't put out anything since We Happy Few.
Yeah.
They're kind of in the same position that Ninja Theory was in. Like, they hadn't put anything out in quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of at the point where, like, you got to get something out. I'm sorry. Like, they bought you, like, 6-7 years ago. You have to release a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have tripled the size of your studio. They have poured all these resources. And Phil claimed this was his favorite first-party game in development for, like, the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we got to see something.
Yeah. Definitely got to see something from them. So... what's your number 4, Josh?
I think we get an onslaught of release dates for 2025. Specifically, I think that they give us launch windows for Fable, South of Midnight, and State of Decay 3. I think they show us State of Decay 3 for real for the first time.
Yeah.
Again, announced 4 summers ago. It's been 4 years. We haven't heard a peep since. They have gone through leadership changes over there. They have done firings of the people in charge.
Yeah, that's gone through some.
That has been a huge part. That and COVID combined basically made them lose like 2 years. Xbox was frustrated at the lack of progress 2 years ago. I can't imagine what they feel right now.
Well, that plus they just released that new State of Decay 2 dynamic background too.
Like that makes me think that we're getting something soon.
Mm-hmm. And it can't be another. It can't be another update to 2, right? I mean, that game's been getting
updates for 2. It should be noted that Undead is like guiding those, but it's Wushu who's actually making them.
Yeah,
they've. I will say this about Xbox. I feel like they're doing a good job at bringing in outside teams to help them where they're weak at developing games. You know, we got Eidos Montreal helping out with Fable. You've got Crystal Dynamics on Perfect Dark. You've got Wushu helping out with State of Decay 2, Certain Affinity helping out with the Halo series. Like, they are the former Volition developers are helping with Clockwork Revolution of all games. Like, they are outsourcing help here, and I think that's a very smart idea. I'm curious to see how this plays out, but yeah, I think you're going to get a bunch of stuff. I think 2025 is packed because, I mean, even if you get those 3 games out the door, you're still getting we don't know if it's a full-on COD game or if it's, you know, an expansion to Black Ops. I would imagine Microsoft is trying to weigh that right now because they have to have seen how bad Modern Warfare 3 was campaign-wise. You've got, presumably, Clockwork Revolution is being set up to be maybe a fall game next year.
Yeah.
And then you've got, I think, the 2 kind of looming questions now of, well, we have a news story about it later, but where does Doom fall in all of this?
Right.
And, well, I'll get to the other one in a minute.
Speaking of Doom, Josh, I think we're going to see Bethesda's other awesome shooter franchise there.
Quake?
I think, yeah, Quake. No, I think we're going to see Wolfenstein 3.
So at some point they have to show this. You and I have been predicting this for 3 years now.
I'm pretty sure we've been predicting it longer than that, going back to our old show and Tower Casuals both.
Yeah, I'm pretty frustrated that we haven't heard anything about this, but Indiana Jones is seemingly done.
Yeah. I think,
and we know that we're seeing Indy again here.
Yeah.
Straight up. Previews are dropping for it the day after the showcase.
Yeah. And you can't just leave this Wolfenstein saga to just end with Youngblood, first of all. And you can't end it without fighting Mecha Hitler. You just can't. You can't end a Wolfenstein series without doing that. So I think we're going to see a tease of it. I don't think we're going to see very much of it. I just think we're going to see it announced, and maybe like you're going to see BJ walk out when some kind of whatever. I don't know. I think you're going to see something though. They have to give us Wolfenstein 3, man. I mean, they don't have to, but they have to, man, right? They have to give it to us. Give it to us.
I'm so divided on this because I feel like we know that Machine Games is working on a second franchise, a second game, but the last I heard, they were hiring multiplayer devs, and I just don't think the multiplayer Wolfenstein is going to go over in 2025.
Well, Young Blood technically was multiplayer.
Oh, these listings were for years after Youngblood.
Yeah, but Youngblood was also Arcane. Youngblood was also Arcane.
I feel like, so my brain says Wolfenstein 3 here. My heart says, what if Machine Games does Quake?
I mean, they have been doing updates to Quake 1 and 2, right?
Yes, they have overseen the remasters of Quake 1 and 2.
Yeah, and like the original rumor was that id was working on a new Quake game, but they're clearly working on Doom. Like they're clearly.
I mean, they could have another team. It is a huge studio.
Yeah, so it's.
I could actually see like a collaboration between like id Germany and Machine Games, maybe working on Quake together.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think that Wolfenstein is the more obvious choice here. But like if Phil is really going to stick to his guns about we want to res some of these older franchises that we have the IP rights to, I just don't understand why you do Quake 1 and 2 remastered if you didn't plan to do a new Quake game at some point.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and Quake Champions isn't going anymore. Is it that free to play?
I don't think so. It might be. I can't tell you the last time I even thought about that game.
Yeah, I mean, I the last time I thought about it was when they showed it, and that was what 7 or 8 years ago at this point.
Something like
7 years ago. So I don't know. But I think we're going to see a little bit of Indiana Jones. I think we're just going to see another trailer. To be honest, I don't think we're going to see much more than that. And then I think you're going to see a Wolfenstein 3 logo.
All right.
Josh, what's your final prediction that's not super crazy?
Persona 6.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's kind of safe at this point.
Persona 6 is here.
Yeah.
It genuinely, we're at a point where it's either here or it's at Summer Game Fest.
Yeah.
All the stars have aligned. There's too many teases from Midori on Twitter about it. I think you're getting the announcement. I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than people think.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Metaphor is being shown at Summer Game Fest also makes me think that that Atlas slot has now opened up at the Xbox show.
Mm-hmm.
The last we heard, there were multiple. So, for those of you who don't know, Midori is a very reliable leaker on Twitter who just seems to have all this inside info about Sega and Atlas in particular. She's also like starting to be proven credible on like Nintendo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically when it comes to Sega and Atlas, has been just spot on, even if it takes like a year or two to come true.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally think so. She basically said that Sega sees the Yakuza series, now known as Like a Dragon, Persona, and Shin Megami Tensei as franchises that they want to annualize in a sense. They want games like, even if they're spinoffs, coming out like every 18 to 24 months essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And that they are already at work on a remaster of Persona 1 and 2 to bring those to modern consoles, because those are not playable on modern consoles. And that they see that happening, that there is a like more casual Persona game, like a party style game basically, that would bring together all the protagonists and whatnot, that is in the works. And then there's Persona 6, and I just can't think of a better like cap off to the last couple years of Sega and Xbox relations than to come out and just have a smorgasbord of games here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you are going to see Persona 6, and I think you're seeing Jet Set Radio here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like those are two very safe predictions, but I actually personally think Persona 6 is getting announced the night before in Japan. There is a Japanese there's a concert happening in Tokyo, I believe, the night before. That usually when Atlas does shows like this, they say, we are not going to reveal any information related to the Persona franchise here. They have not made that statement about this concert.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm deep down the Persona conspiracy rabbit hole. I think 6 is getting announced here, and I think they're announcing it for a summer 2025 release. I think it's out before next showcase. This is a game that I think they want to get out. It is being directed by it is being made by the Persona 5 Royale team.
Mm-hmm.
Because the director of Persona 3, 4, and 5 has, of course, moved over to do Metaphor and took a lot of his leads with him. Royale's content was made entirely by the team that will be doing Persona 6, and that gives me a lot of hope. Also, Persona 5 has been out for a long time. That game's like 8 years old.
It was a PS3 game.
It was a yeah. So Atlas games are weird. They released it on PS3 and PS4 at the same time in Japan.
Yeah.
Then when it came to the States in 2017, it was just on PS4, I believe.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing that Pokemon does, right? Where like, even though the next console is kind of out, or the next handheld, they still put it out on the old one.
I mean, so they started this years ago. Persona 4 came out in 2008, which was 2 years into the PS3 generation. I think it's the last real PS2 game to release that wasn't like Madden.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, for years we've all been like, oh my God, I can't wait for games to just be on the new hardware. And they keep releasing them on PS4 and Xbox One. And that's because I think like somebody ran a statistic. I want to say it was Stephen Totillo or Matt Piscatella put this stat out the other day, that 50%, 48 to 50% of players playing Modern Warfare 3 are still on PS4. So like, why on earth would like, why wouldn't you want to keep games on the older hardware? We've kind of like plateaued in terms of graphics.
Mm-hmm.
But all that's to say, I think there's going to be a big Sega showing here to just keep pushing that relationship is stronger than ever between Sega and Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we know Xbox's tech team is doing a lot of stuff with Sega, also helping them like modernize their franchises. and bring them to more platforms and stuff. Like Sega's not usually like a huge PC company, and I think that's where it's happening, is like optimizing stuff for PC and like Steam Deck and things like that. So I think that Persona 6, it probably won't be the one more thing, because I think one more thing you want to say for your own franchise.
Yeah.
Which I personally, like, this isn't even an out there prediction. I think the one more thing is Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
But I think it's Perfect Dark gameplay. That's not my crazy prediction. But yeah. Persona 6, man. It's happening, and I can't wait for it. I'm very excited for Metaphor. That is going to be a straight up Game of the Year contender when it comes out.
Man, could you imagine like a whole section of like just Sega Atlas just in the middle of this thing? Like, here's Jet Set, or here's Jet Grind Radio, here's Crazy Taxi, here's whatever the next stupid Sonic game is, here's Persona, here's,
Yeah, I think
for
Xbox
Metaphor.
is being a little cautious about that. Like, if we look at kind of their pattern the last couple of years with third-party games, they've really been moving away from them unless they're indies and they can say they're coming to Game Pass.
Yeah.
I think the notable exceptions have been those Sega titles.
Yeah.
Of course, last year we got the reveal of Outlaws also.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider that like something, I don't know, major. It showed up at basically every show last summer, I feel.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, whatever. Yeah. Persona 6, man. I think it'll be close to the end if it shows up, because that would be massive to put on your stage.
Yeah. All right, Josh, here's my
hit me with your crazy one, Corey, which I don't think is too crazy, but
I don't think it's too crazy. I think it's too early, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think Xbox might. I would like them to see them reveal their handheld device this year. I don't know, like their proper handheld device, not another ROG, not another whatever. Right? I would really like them to have a true handheld Xbox experience shown off here. I don't know if you shove a Series S into a handheld. I don't know if you pare it down even more just to get it to a point where people can afford it or whatever. But like, I don't know. That's my crazy prediction, is that the handheld is coming. Although I think what you're going to see is that discless Series X, to be honest. But
yeah, I feel like a discless Series X is probably the play here. But they did say hardware announcements for this summer.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if those hardware announcements are going to be made in the week leading up to the showcase. Maybe the next 2 weeks we get a few like little announcements here. We know there's supposed to be changes to the controller coming.
Yeah.
With the haptics, and we've also heard. I feel like I heard somewhere that the Elite Series 3 could be announced soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's long past time, but you can't announce the Series 3 without being able to reassure everybody that the build quality is going to be drastically better this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think something hardware related is there. Discless Series X is probably what it is. But I think that, funny enough, Nintendo, I think, has like kind of had us all start conforming to a different way of thinking about games.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of graphics, like the Series X is kind of looking like the better play the more time goes on. Like we've plateaued.
Mm-hmm.
We've just plateaued. Like, these machines aren't that much more powerful than the last generation. I don't feel like there's been that jump in visual quality since probably like the original Xbox to the 360.
Yeah, I would say there's only been a handful of games that have like proven their worth on this gen, to me, in my opinion.
So Hellblade 2.
Hellblade is one of them.
Horizon Forbidden West.
See, I don't think so. It's a PS4 game.
Oh my god, that game is fucking gorgeous on PS5.
I agree. It's a beautiful game, but it's also a PS4 game.
I understand that it's also a PS4 game, but I mean, I feel like it's kind of like you can play it. It's kind of like having the minimum settings for a PC game. Like, well, you can play it like this, but if you really want to see our vision, you have to have the recommended specs.
Yeah. Well,
and I feel like that's kind of how Sony's games have been. Like, I would make the same argument for God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, see, I don't think God of War is I think there are several games better looking than God of War.
Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy, man. Nobody is making games as consistently good looking as Sony right now.
I didn't say that. I said I think there are several games that are better looking than God of
Like
War.
what? Like what?
Like almost anything else Sony has put out on this console.
Crazy.
I would say Ghost of Tsushima looks better. I would say Death Stranding looks better. Horizon definitely looks better. I would argue something like Returnal does a lot of interesting things that makes it graphically different. Like, I mean, that would be a game I would point to say, hey, this is probably wouldn't run super well on last gen if you try to make it. I don't think God of War is a pretty game at all, actually.
You're wild. You are absolutely wild. But I respect your crazy takes.
I didn't even finish it. I did not like God of War.
That's okay. You don't need to finish that thought. It's okay. We don't need to hear any thoughts.
Atreus is the worst character ever created.
Oh my god, get out of here. Get out.
I hate Atreus so much.
Get out.
I want to see Kratos rip people in half. I don't have time for this whiny baby kid.
Oh my god, you are literally the worst.
I know.
God. I'm so glad we don't do a PlayStation show.
Oh man. We could if you want.
No.
We have every other Monday ready.
No, we can't. I promise we can't.
I know, I don't want to. I already just axed another show as it is because I'm doing too much, so
that's fair.
Oh man. So yeah, anyways, this Xbox handheld was my crazy. What's your crazy, Josh?
Killer Instinct.
You think that's crazy?
I do think it's crazy.
I feel like that rumor's been going on forever, though.
It has. That's why I think it's crazy. It's put up or shut up time. It's time. I'm ready. I'm ready to see it. I really, really want to see this game.
You think they reveal it with the Battletoads versus the Arbiter like they did last time?
Oh my god. No, I think it's Master Chief versus like Marcus.
Oh god.
What would you do if it was Conquer the Squirrel versus Gaz from Psychonauts?
I mean, would it even be Killer Instinct at that point?
No, but I do feel like Killer Instinct is going to evolve in its next iteration and kind of be like Xbox Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that.
Which we've been saying for a while. Like, I don't think you're going to see Gaz, but I think someone like Conquer absolutely belongs in Killer Instinct.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see something like that. I mean, it already kind of is.
Like, right? You have such a huge stable of characters you can pull from Blizzard, Activision, ZeniMax. Like, that roster could be massive.
I mean, you already have the Battletoads, and General Rom is in there, the Arbiter's in there. There's a few other Xbox characters. I haven't been keeping up, but I know there's quite a few characters in there.
I mean,
already.
You can put Chief in there. You can put the Dovahkiin in there. You can put the Doomslayer, in there,
and BJ. You could put BJ in there.
BJ Blazkowicz. You can put just the T60 power armor in there. Fortnite did it.
Yeah.
You can put that in there. The Lich King can be in there. I forget the leader of the Horde in World of Warcraft, but you can have him and Thrall, Thane.
You can put some Overwatch characters in there. Reaper.
Yeah, you can put some Overwatch characters in there. Diablo.
Yeah.
You literally have the God of Hell in there. Tyrael.
You could put
Inarius, Lilith.
You could put Captain Soap in there.
You can put Soap in there. Captain Price absolutely is going to be in there.
Yeah.
Frank Woods.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk.
Oh my god. Now you're getting crazy.
How funny would that be, though?
Yeah, and he would just fight with his skateboard and he just hit people with it. Oh, it'd be so funny.
I feel like if they hadn't just gotten rid of Tango, they probably would have put Shy in there.
I mean, they technically still could, but
Shy and 808 would have been so cool to show up and be cell shaded.
Yeah. Although that would probably piss a lot of people off.
That would piss me off pretty greatly. Obviously, Chief has never been in one of these. Chief and Marcus have to be in there, I think.
Yeah. Well, there was quote unquote the Spartan in.
Yeah. No. Chief and Marcus have to be in there. Sergeant Johnson.
Yeah.
Put Johnson in there. Senua.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. She would actually probably fit the most out of all these characters.
Like, there's some cool shit you could do here. I think you could do some really creative things here. So I'd be interested to see. I mean, obviously there's, characters you can pull from Pillars of Eternity and put them in there. There's a lot of things you could do, and I'd be very interested to see Joanna Dark.
Mhm.
There's a lot you could. The Jack of Blades, the hero of Albion. Excuse me.
Man, there's so many.
There's so many
You
Xbox
just
characters you can put in here.
you just saying all this makes me mad that there aren't more games with
Banjo
these
Kazooie.
characters. Yeah, oh my God, stop. Mumbo Jumbo. Put him in there.
Steve.
He could turn people into refrigerators. And
I actually do wonder if there's a deal, like if part of the deal with getting Steve and Banjo into Smash Brothers is that they can't use them in their own fighting games for like X amount of years.
Yeah, maybe.
Especially Banjo.
Yeah. I don't know.
So Corey, I've actually got one more crazy prediction for you if you'll indulge me for a moment.
Hit me.
Banjo Kazooie.
Yeah, but who's doing it? You think? I mean,
Mojang.
You think?
Mojang. They have to make something other than Minecraft at some point in their lives.
Do they though?
Yep. I would even take an outside team developing it, such as the Ukulele devs, and Microsoft publishing it.
Yeah, but they already said they didn't want to do Banjo again.
I know what they said, but money talks.
Yeah. I mean, you could even do Toys for Bob too, but
I don't think it's Toys for Bob.
Oh,
I do think Toys for Bob's project is close to being announced, but I think it's Spyro.
Yeah, I think it's definitely
Spyro. I think that is the easiest layup ever. I'm curious to see how many of these predictions happen here and how many of them happen in what you call it. Gamescom. That's what I was trying to say. Gamescom.
Yeah.
Because in the announcement that BlizzCon was canceled, they said we look forward to showing our stuff off at other shows throughout the year, including Gamescom.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to think that like maybe that's like more geared towards Activision Blizzard stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Call of Duty multiplayer reveal, maybe Vessel of Hatred gets an extended demo. Like they just let Jeff Keighley show all this shit and be like, yeah, we don't need to do this ourselves.
Yeah.
But I actually will kind of wonder if like the multiplayer reveal is going to happen at this second showcase. I don't want them to do this shit every year. I'm actually really annoyed they're doing it. I understand why you're doing it for Call of Duty this year as a separate showcase. Like that means now you don't have to spend like 10 minutes of your show showing off Call of Duty. You just do a quick trailer and say we're showing the rest after, like they did with Starfield last year.
Yeah.
But that really, really irks me. I get that like you want to drill home, and that's probably a shareholder decision.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we got to show off Call of Duty here. We got to remind everyone that we own it now and this and that. This is the new home of Call of Duty. Call of Duty has come home. They're almost certainly going to accentuate that announcement with all the legacy titles are coming to Xbox today.
Yeah.
But it's like the roadmap that we've seen for this franchise is it's not taking any time off. And I do feel like that is very much a Satya Nadella decision and not a Phil Spencer decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when we're at the point where they're authorizing a sequel supposedly to Ghosts, that's how you know we've hit a brick wall. Advanced Warfare, yes. Ghosts, no. So that's kind of where we're at now. These games getting 4 years of dev time. Like I get it. Treyarch devs are excited to show. Treyarch's devs seem genuinely excited about this reveal right now. And I don't doubt, like if you're at that studio, you're there because you want to make Call of Duty.
Yeah. Plus, like, I mean, Call of Duty is like you put that on your resume, like you want to go somewhere else, you want
to go work on any shooter. There you go.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet from somebody who works at the studio, and they work QA for Treyarch, and they says we've been testing this game for over 2 years now. That gives me a lot of hope that they're going to get these games on the 4-year dev cycles.
Yeah.
At minimum. So I actually kind of like that. That does set it up for Infinity Ward's game to presumably be the launch title for the next console. The next console cycle, that is. And I think we're doing away with traditional console generations anyways at this point. Nintendo has kind of seen to that forcefully, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see these special extra showcases become a thing. That was my concern after the Starfield one last year, and I guaranteed on this very show that we weren't going to see one, and then a month later they announced another one for Black Ops this time. I look at any game that they have coming in the future, and like outside of the next Elder Scrolls, I can't think of another game in their portfolio that demands its own showcase.
Yeah.
Call of Duty, it's one thing to show it now because, okay, it's the first time we've got it. It's Black Ops, this and that. But I don't want to see an extended showcase every year.
Yeah.
I like what they do the Tuesday or Wednesday of that week where they dive deeper into some of the games shown there. And then they have a few other like mini announcements. I think that's a much cooler concept.
Yeah.
So I like hearing directly from developers. So I don't know, man. It's really rubbing me the wrong way that we're doing this for Call of Duty and not something else. Like we're blowing our wad here.
Right.
But I also understand it from a financial perspective. Yeah, the game that sells 30 million units a year, you should probably promote.
Yeah.
That's the ironic part, is that game's going to get all the marketing budget this year, and games like Senua's Saga and Avowed aren't going to get a dime.
Yeah.
So
it sucks.
My rant is over.
Yeah. Are you... I don't know. I've seen a lot of like weird takes around Avowed. Are you excited for Avowed?
Oh, dude, I'm so excited for Avowed.
Are you concerned about it at all?
Nope.
It just seems like a lot of people are like...
I have never played a bad Obsidian game. Let them cook.
I'm just kind of...
I'm also like
concerned.
Completely in love with that universe that they've built in Eora.
Yeah.
I am so stoked for this game, though.
I mean, I'm not concerned either way. I've just been seeing a lot of people online being like, "Whoa, Avowed is like, what's going on over there?" And it's like, what do you mean?
I'm not I think that the length of time it's taken to make it is slightly concerning. Obsidian has rebooted this game twice that we know of. Once confirmed, once suspected. This game probably should have been out like a year ago, like this time last year. It being, I believe Tom Warren over at The Verge said that it's targeting a November release. That gives me a little bit of hope that, you know, hopefully they understand they need to put it out like the first week of November or something, so it qualifies for any awards consideration this time around. The one that I'm a little bit more concerned about is that Indiana Jones is supposedly targeting December. That December is where games go to die.
Yeah, that's
the one I'm and see, here's the thing, I don't see people concerned about that because it's Machine Games and they're like, oh, Machine Games has proven themselves. Like, Obsidian just made a 10 out of 10 game not 2 years ago.
I mean, and everybody loved the Outer Worlds. Everybody loved Pentiment. Everybody seems to like Grounded. Like, I don't understand the concern, to be honest. I really loved South Park when it came out.
Again, I have never played a bad Obsidian game.
Yeah.
I have played some that could have been better.
Sure.
But the lowest score I think I've ever given to an Obsidian game is like an 8. That's a pretty great track record.
Yeah. I mean,
for a studio that's been around for 20 years.
Yeah,
I'm not worried.
I'm not worried either. I just saw a lot of weird stuff.
I think that people are concerned because we didn't see a whole lot of gameplay last year at the showcase, which I actually thought that was pretty effective as a trailer, honestly, last summer. And then there's been concerns about the developer direct because it focused on one specific area. So I don't think this is the worst. I do agree they need to show a completely different biome or something in this next gameplay snippet. And it probably needs to be the headliner for Showcase Extended.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really hard to show a big RPG like that. And they've said it's not going to be big and sprawling. It's going to be like 35, 40 hours probably. Which is about the length of an Obsidian game, honestly. I look forward to seeing what it looks like, though. I'm not worried. I'm very excited. This is the game that I think is really like gonna blow the door off of Obsidian. Just makes these niche RPG games. I thought Outer Worlds did it, but Outer Worlds, it's been so long since they released a major game after that. It's been 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when this got unveiled, it was targeting like 2022.
Yeah.
here we are. It's not coming until fall 24. I've seen rumors that this could get delayed into next year, and I don't think they want that. I think they want this out this year so they can put distance between it and Fable.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you every single game is steering clear of fall 2025 with the news that GTA 6 is going to come out in fall 25.
Yeah.
Every single game is going to avoid that month that it comes out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the only company that's going to put games out around then would be Nintendo, because they don't care, right? I mean,
they don't. Their stuff is going to sell no matter what.
Yeah.
It just might sell a little bit less for a month. Big whoop.
Yeah. And it'll be something that it's going to be anyway, we'll talk about that later, but yeah. All right. I wanted to know your opinion because I trust you on Obsidian more than anybody that I know. So there's just a lot of weird discourse around that. Do you think we see the Outer Worlds 2 here? And you think they're just too focused on Avowed and to even care at this point?
I think they're too focused on Avowed. There are other, so there's 4 teams within Obsidian that I know of. And well, really 5 if you count the Grounded team that just wrapped doing everything on Grounded.
Yeah.
Grounded is feature complete now.
Mm-hmm.
It is Josh Sawyer's little team he made Pentiment with, which I don't know if he's keeping them together or if he's going to be willing to go back to a bigger project now that he's refreshed or whatever. That dude's drinking his way around Europe right now, so I would imagine he's just going to do whatever he wants to do. And I think Microsoft knows that's the trade-off. Like, okay, the studio is making a couple big games, and then we've got some weird shit coming from this guy periodically. At least he's not running a whole studio, I think is like the way they're viewing it. You've got the Outer Worlds 2 team, which is, last I heard, was about 60 to 65 people. You've got the Avowed team, which is the main studio team, which is about 100 people. And then there was supposedly a 5th team that was made of about 35 to 40 people a few years back, and nobody quite knew what they were working on. But it was being led by one of Josh Sawyer's disciples, essentially. So that gives me, and I mean, the director of the Outer Worlds 2 and I believe the director of Outer Worlds 2, Kerry Patel, I think is also one of his disciples. That gives me a lot of hope for these games, honestly. So.
Cool. Well, Josh, what do you say we get into some of these news stories now that we're done with predictions? Because
I was mistaken. Kerry Patel is doing Avowed. I'm sorry. She's doing Avowed, not Outer Worlds 2. Which gives me even more confidence, frankly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Hit me with those news stories.
All right. We're going to kind of fly through these because there's nothing really big here.
No.
So we kind of already touched on this, but Doom the Dark Ages seems to have leaked according to Insider Gaming. Taking place during the Middle Ages, prequel to Doom 2016. Seems like an interesting concept, but I know a lot of people. How do you work the big cool guns into that? How do you? I mean, I don't know. It seems intriguing, I guess. I don't know. How do you feel about Doom the Dark Ages, Josh?
I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a cool concept. I like that they're shaking things up and it's not just, oh, we're on Mars and there's a demon infestation again.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like the idea of going to the Middle Ages for this. The idea of a medieval Doomslayer is pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing this. Yeah, sure. Whatever. I think the bigger news is that this is supposedly going to be announced as coming day and date to PS5.
Yeah. I mean,
which anybody with a brain knew years ago when the purchase was complete that Doom was going to continue to be a multi-platform franchise.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
They outright said if it already existed on other platforms, they were going to keep bringing it to other platforms as part of the ZeniMax deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, Starfield caused so much controversy because, Starfield wasn't on PS5, so they just kept it to themselves.
Yeah, what was the term they used? The legacy. If there's a legacy of these games being on these consoles, then they'll be here or something. They'll continue to be supported or whatever. Which I guess you could find wiggle room in that phrasing, but I don't know. I wouldn't doubt Doom would be multi-platform. It's too big. It's too big.
It's too big, and I mean, it's the same argument that I always had about Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Like, there was just no way that those were ever going to stay exclusive. So, yeah, like maybe timed exclusivity would have been in the cards, but not Doom. Doom moved 5-6 million copies last time around.
Yeah, I think
Doom Eternal was very profitable. We know that.
I think the last number, because we talked about this on Nintendo Power Block a couple weeks ago, actually, ironically. It sold something like 11.6 million units with like 1.1 million on the Switch alone, which was something interesting that I can't believe it sold that many on the Switch, but whatever. But you're also talking to somebody who played Doom 2016 all the way through on Switch, but that's a story for a different day. Interesting concept. Interested to see it. I bet it's going to look amazing on Series X. All right. There's another thing here. There seems to be conflicting claims on what, quote, Xbox on every screen means, Josh.
Oh, boy.
So this story is from Insider Gaming. Tom Warren speaking on what Jez Corden said on the Xbox 2 podcast. Quote, I actually have some details on exactly what Xbox on every screen looks like now, Jez says. And I think what it is that every Xbox game will have a consistent social UI across all games. So like if you're playing Sea of Thieves, for example, on PlayStation, you'll be able to bring up a mini Xbox guide or something like that. Kind of like Battle.net, sort of. And then there's a quote later that says, so obviously this is likely just a small part of Microsoft's larger plan for, quote, an Xbox on every screen. The company is still working on their next-gen hardware and possibly a handheld device. So I don't know. I don't really know how to take this. I know they're really working on their PC overhaul for Game Pass, at least, because from what I hear, the PC Game Pass and Xbox client really sucks.
Yeah, it does.
And they're really trying to make that uniform with like a phone UI, because they're getting ready to launch that mobile store.
God.
Which also may be a disaster. I don't know. Sure. Like to me, it's just like, sure. If you need to sign into Xbox Live when you're playing an Xbox game, whatever. I already have to do that to play Minecraft on Switch. Like I don't know. How do you feel?
I think
about
the idea
this,
of being
Josh?
able to pull up a mini Xbox guide is pretty helpful. But I can see how that's going to be really confusing on on anything that's not PC, basically, because both Switch and PlayStation have jump back to the guide, or pull up your little mini PlayStation menu or whatever. I just this is a nothing burger until it actually happens, as far as I'm concerned. And so help me God, this better just be an Xbox Wire blog post. If they take actual time during a showcase to talk about this, I might actually scream.
It's gonna be right there next to the Hellblade article.
God, we have a documentary about this one too.
Oh God, maybe. Wouldn't put it past them. All right, Josh. Another kind of nothing story here, but Assassin's Creed Shadows got announced.
Cool.
A lot of people are being weird about this, but there are two playable characters.
No. Racists are being weird about this. Let's get it straight here. Racists are being weird again.
I just think this.
There's nothing strange about this at all whatsoever. This is a story that is actually rooted in history, like all the Assassin's Creed games are. And I'm just fucking tired of this. Like, y'all, these same people didn't have a problem with Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai. So why do you have a problem now? It's because he's black. Just call it what it is.
I mean, there's also a Japanese woman protagonist in here too, if you're that concerned about playing as a Japanese person in this game.
Yeah, but they're going to ignore that. They don't give a fuck about that, dude. Because then they have to play as a woman, which they also don't like.
I know.
So I'm just calling it like it is, man.
I think this game sounds awesome. I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. I know.
Yes, you are.
Somehow very unpopular, even though I don't know. I love Assassin's Creed. Odyssey's amazing. Valhalla's okay. I'm really excited for this. I mean, as someone who didn't play Ghost of Tsushima yet, this seems really awesome to me.
Ghost of Tsushima is the best Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. But also, if you go to the Ubisoft website, they gave one of those little stupid chart things where, like, you buy this version, you get this. You buy this version, you get that.
Yeah,
If you
nothing
buy
turns
the
me off
ultimate,
more from a game than seeing that.
yeah, you don't want the red dragon pack photo filter for your photo mode for an extra $50. There's a cool collector's edition though with a cool statue, but I don't know. I think it's $300, and
I'm so indifferent on Assassin's Creed at this point in my life. I'll probably play this when it becomes $20 a month after launch.
I mean, I'm not going to get it right away because the Ubisoft games it'll go on sale, like you said. It'll go on sale.
The only Ubisoft game I plan on buying at full price is probably Outlaws, and even that's going to depend on what comes out around that time.
Yeah,
that's mainly due to the fact that I'm a Star Wars nut and not a Ubisoft fan.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right, Corey, hit me with our next story.
All right. So we're kind of done with the big stories. So there's a lot of stuff around Hellblade that came out this week. Ninja Theory obviously thanked their fans and fellow industry veterans who kind of gave them a incredible response to the game. I really like when, they put out those Twitter posts thanking people, even if the game didn't do what people thought it might do. I don't know. Their letter to the fans and other people felt really heartfelt and nice. I don't know if you read it or not. It just, I don't know. I like when studios do that. I know it's kind of like a marketing thing and a kind of whatever, but I thought it was nice. It's kind of like when CD Projekt included a letter with The Witcher that said, "Thanks for buying our game." Like, it's a little touch that you don't have to do, but it does something. And then Digital Foundry did their Hellblade 2 technical review. I don't know if you watched it or not, but they had a lot of pretty decent things to say about it. There's a couple quotes here that I kind of want to read. Quote, "The real magic stems from the combination of all the techniques by the game's artists. This isn't the first shipping game to use these features," which they're talking about. Some Unreal 5 suites features that weren't available to other studios at the time, and because they're using kind of like a prototype.
They're basically directly affiliated with Epic at this point.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
This is part of the broader collaboration, I think, across the board too, between the Unreal team and Xbox. Like we mentioned earlier, they're using it at the Coalition, they're using it at Rare, they're using it at Ninja Theory, they're using it at Obsidian and at In Exile, and just basically, unless you're Forza Tech or id Tech, you're probably using Unreal if you're at Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's good because then other studios can help each other out too.
Yeah, that's the main thing why all these studios are switching to Unreal, right? Is because they can kind of
Well, it's a big reason why so many Sony studios are starting to switch over to Decima.
Yeah.
The rare in-house engine they developed that actually is good.
Oh, it's amazing, dude. I mean, Death Stranding and Horizon are some of the best looking games I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, arguably the best looking example we've seen thus far. Of course, all this does come at a cost of frame rate, but this topic is a little tricky regarding the game like this. So, as has been known before for a while, Hellblade 2 is limited to 30 frames per second on Xbox consoles. So yeah, I don't know. They kind of said it could possibly do 60 on Xbox in a patch later, but I actually think 60 frames would ruin the experience, or not ruin it, but I think it would change the experience drastically. So I think it's great that such an experience can be made on a level like this in terms of fidelity. Whether it's for you or not is down to personal taste, but what is here has been executed perfectly and that it deserves kudos. Ninja Theory has made one of the most technically accomplished examples of a real-time graphics game we've seen to date, and it absolutely should be experienced. So high praise graphically from Digital Foundry. I thought that was pretty cool.
Digital Foundry is absolutely the people that I want to listen to for an in-depth technical breakdown too.
IGN's Digital Foundry now, apparently.
God, dude, I've got so much to say on that, and we don't have enough time to get into it. So
Yeah, I did. That's why I didn't put it in here, because I feel I did not want to get into it because there's so much to say.
no,
Uh,
I'm gonna be so angry if I have to talk about this tonight. So let's move on.
yeah, that's it, Josh. That's all we
That's it,
got.
man. We are 2 weeks away from the summer showcase,
We
and from
are.
summer Game Fest happens that Friday, and then the Xbox show is Sunday afternoon. We got Ubisoft Forward on Monday, and then it's probably safe to assume that Nintendo has a show that week too.
Yeah.
Sony should have a state of play sometime this week or early next week.
Yeah, that's
The
the.
belief is it'll be this week because the final shape is about to come out, and they want to promo that one more time.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
supposedly going
and
to get a new Astrobot and some Concord gameplay finally.
yeah, that seems.
I'm all here for Astrobot. I fucking love Astrobot.
That's what I hear. I hear Astrobot's really good. I haven't played it, even though it's sitting on my.
We need
PlayStation.
more platforming mascots these days.
Yeah, not enough of them.
Not enough of them that aren't
Especially
locked to
from
Nintendo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially from Sony. I mean, Sackboy clearly failed, and well, Ratchet is Ratchet. So,
Yep.
But
all right, get us out of here, Corey.
Yep, let's get out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Xbox Casuals. If you're listening the week of release, Tower Casuals 200 live. You can watch us live on Twitch and YouTube. I have to test a few things out, which I'm going to do tomorrow. I have time blocked off to do that. Some technical tests, if you will, Josh, but we should be good to go on that. Very excited. Very, very excited. Tune in for that. Josh, thank you for your time, as always. Where can we find you?
Twitter, @Josh__Finn, 2 N's.
2 N's.
2 N's.
You can find me at I am Corey in HD on social stuff. You can follow us at Tower Casuals, subscribe to YouTube, all that stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.